is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Spoil Me, covering One Piece, episodes 129 and 130, the end of the Alabasta arc. In these episodes, Gabriela is going to join me as we talk about the fact that Vivi did not join the Straw Hats. Welcome to Spoil Me. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
And I'm Gabriela. Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited to have somebody to talk with about these, it feels like a series finale.
Exactly.
The way this ends, Yeah. For those who are not in the crowdcast, I was asking Gabriela when the Netflix, when the feed on Netflix ends. And Netflix was like, Gabriela was like, you've reached it. And I guess that makes sense because it felt like a series finale. If you're going to have to stop early, that is a good place to feel like the story has wrapped up in a lot of ways. So yeah, tell me again. Tell me why you are here to cover this section.
All right. So one is the end of the saga. So it's always nice to do a check-in at the end of the saga to get your general thoughts. Mm-hmm. And then, we have a new crew member. And I want to get your reaction on that.
Y'all, okay. I have so many things to say.
I know.
All right, I'm gonna talk about 4 people off the top. 1, Pell is alive. Everybody?
Yeah.
I'm just squinting at the screen. I will say though, despite him being alive, almost no time is spent on that at all. So I was willing to let it go. We just see him be like, hey, thanks, man, and walk out. And that's it. There's no long drawn out tearful reunion between him and Vivi. Fine. 2, I am totally willing to accept what happened with Luffy rescuing Cobra and what is it? Nico?
Robin.
Nico
Robin.
I was sort of enjoying the idea of the consequences of her death, but also she was interesting. And we do need another female crewmate. So that is fine. 3, Mr. 2. If he's dead, if he's really dead and Pell didn't die, I will never forgive Oda forever for the rest of my life. It's that simple. Absolutely fucking not. You are not going to do that.
Yes, you are very right to be upset in that scenario, because why would you let Pell leave and not the wonderful Bon Clay? No,
Bon Clay, right? I forgot that he has an actual name now. Okay, right. I love him so much, and I'm so happy that he gets to do more and doesn't just wind up abandoned with his whited out eyes on the streets of Alabasta like all of the other villains have done. I'm so glad he got to do more. But yeah, he cannot be dead. I can't accept that. So I hope that at some point we get some weird Buggy the Clown interlude episode of him just floating up onto an island and, I don't know, just having to get by.
I guess we'll just have to see if he shows up in one of the cover stories or something.
I want that real bad. It's a combo of how much I love him, and I forgot that they make his crew just as overdramatic and emotional as they make him. So he's crying about friendship, and they're all like sobbing along with him, and it's so good. I love it so much. He's so good. So let's see, that's 3, and I said I was going to talk about 4. Oh, and then it was going to be no, we will talk about her, but no. 4 was Nico Robin stowing away on their ship. And like I said, delighted to have another lady. She's also a badass, and we needed somebody who was a woman who could fight, so I'm very happy about that. But at one point, she's like telling the story to Usopp, and she's like, and then suddenly I found myself on the list of most wanted, and I'm like, wait. You can't just say, oh, and suddenly for some reason they wanted to arrest me. That's not how that works at all. You did something, and you just totally left that out, and Usopp does not like check her on that in any way. So I guess he's distracted, but I want to know about her checkered past. I don't trust her, and I don't need to trust her. I am enjoying not trusting her, but you know, yeah. So, Gus is saying, did you read the Django cover story? I did. Thank you, Gus. Yeah. And thank you, Florian messaged me on Discord. Sorry I didn't reply, Florian, but I did see it. And later on today, I was like, shit, I got to do that. Did you see the one that he shared with me? I'm sure you're familiar with it, though, probably, right?
Yeah, the Django cover story.
So for those who have not read it, it's the story of how Django, first he like goes to a restaurant on the island that Usopp left, and Onion spots him and is like, what the fuck? And chases him off the island. And he winds up barely escaping on like this little boat and goes to essentially like a disco island. It's called Mirror Ball Island. Honestly, I am pissed off that they did not put this in the show. I really need to see. I need to see it, and I need to hear it. I want to hear the music, because we get a taste of it in the previous section where we have him and what's his face, Full Body? Yeah. And that was so good. Just that little bit. And I want the whole episode.
Me too.
But he accidentally, it says, joins the dance contest. I guess he just dances his way onto the stage without noticing, I'm assuming is kind of how that happened. And then him and Full Body go up against each other. He gets first place. Full Body gets second place. They become bros. But then he's arrested, and Full Body basically like throws himself upon the mercy of the courts on behalf of his new dance bro, resulting in his demotion. But Django does get acquitted, and now they are both basically like errand boys for the hot captain. Hina, thank you. So that is what happened there. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that with me, Florian. And sorry, guys, that it took me so long to get to it, because I understand why the timing would have been better if I read that earlier. But nevertheless, it did not spoil anything for me in a way that was significant, because I just enjoyed it so much. I want to go to Disco Island real bad.
It's a nice extra side story to connect some of the main plot points. It's really good. Mm-hmm.
And I really just do enjoy, you know, how much Oda takes the opportunity to make weird characters become friends with each other. I'm seeing how often that becomes a thing. Even Smoker is like low-key rooting for the Straw Hats to get away after being very like intent upon catching them. And it warms my little heart. I like it. So yeah, okay.
We get a big lesson of the power of friendship on episode 129.
Yes. So they get cornered. Mm-hmm. They have Marines all around them. There's nowhere to bust out of. And Hina is here, and apparently Hina has like a real reputation.
Yeah.
Is it Bunkley? Is that his name?
Bunkley. Mm-hmm.
Is he the one who knows who she is? I feel like it was him that's like, oh my god, it's Hina. She's here. Somebody is just like, fuck, this person is deadly. And he winds up like sacrificing himself so as to pretend that Luffy's ship is actually like the decoy, and even takes Luffy's place. And I should have seen that coming. I should have realized that his like ability to turn into somebody else would be the key in getting out of this situation at the end. But I didn't even think of it because I was just so focused on like, is he going to be part of the Straw Hats now? I really wanted it, even though I knew it wasn't going to happen. He has his own whole crew and his own whole ship. Like, he's not, but you know.
But he's a friend of the Straw Hats, so he's a Straw Hat at heart.
Okay. I'm willing to accept that. Yeah. And the reason that he's like willing to do this is because they are going to be heading in like the more dangerous direction in order to give Vivi the chance to catch up with them and join their crew. And he is just so touched at the fact that they are willing to risk it all for their friend. Meanwhile, Vivi.
I just love your transition.
There is so much about Vivi's storyline. Like, honestly, I really like the Alabasta arc a lot, but Vivi is by far the worst part of it. And it's a shame. It's still, like I said, I really enjoyed it. But man, like everything that he decided to do with her feels so weird and like nonsensical. And for a show that is as nonsensical as One Piece tends to be, for someone to feel particularly nonsensical, that really stands out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing that they do, and I get it, like it's meant to be funny the way that it's set up, but what they do is Vivi has this like speech she's supposed to give to the people for her like sort of coming out, her debut, I guess. And it just happens to be scheduled at the exact same time as when she said she would meet the Straw Hats.
No, she actually delayed the speech a couple hours. It was supposed to be earlier that day, and she delayed the speech.
Why?
So that she could actually be there and meet the Straw Hats.
But she has Cogsworth dress up as her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I'm realizing? I don't know how long it takes for her to get from where she was giving the speech to the shoreline where she starts yelling to them. I'm imagining it as like, you know, the outskirts of town.
It takes a while because if you remember, like it's Alubarna is like all the way farther up the river, while where they were was actually like by the coast, and Alubarna is not by the coast.
Okay.
So it's actually a pretty long way. They were talking about how even if she took Karoo, it would take her like half the night or something like that.
Right. Thank you. I forgot that they mentioned that.
Oh, 4 hours. Thank you.
4 hours is Florian. Why not just not do the speech that day and like wait one more day? If she knows that she's going to go either way, whether she's taking them up on it or saying goodbye, she's not going to be there. Nobody had mentioned it the previous day. Like, oh, tomorrow's your speech. It feels very sudden. It just feels badly organized.
It
all I'm
was
saying.
also that she could give a super heartfelt speech to the Straw Hats. That's all it was about.
And I guess despite being this far away, they can still hear her because
Yeah, they heard the
she's
entire
using the
speech.
snail transponder things as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they don't know who she's talking to, though. Later on, somebody's asking who she was talking to, like a random person in the crowd. And somebody says, "We don't know, but we liked it," which was honestly a really good line. Like, it's so stupid, but that feels like something that a constituent would say. But yeah, so all that aside, choosing to have Cogsworth dress up as her, there's a moment where Cogsworth gets hit in the head with a can. And then he just says, "They throw far." And I cracked up because I was looking at it. I was like, how did they, like, that is so high above the ground. How did they even get? And then when he like addresses it, I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. But all of that aside, it ends with Vivi not joining up with them. Thank God. Thank God.
But did you
Y'all,
think that she would, based on the way that they set it up and all of that?
I didn't think they would. Like, I didn't think that was likely. Forgive me, my nose is running for some reason. It's like 25 degrees today and sleeting. I'm in Texas. I don't get it.
Sorry.
Sorry. I am too. But I didn't really think so, but you never know. You know? Like, I was worried about it, especially considering it sort of felt, and this isn't actually true, but it sort of felt like we were going to have to choose between her and Bon Clay and pick one of the two. It felt like it was down to those two. As it turns out, it's not even about either one of them. It's a whole other person that I had not considered. But I was so much more team Bon Clay that even if I had not already started to like dislike Vivi, I would have been like, who is this other, you know? And I just never, I don't know, like this show can be really surprising with the twists and turns it decides to take. And there's even like a dream that Cogsworth, he wakes up having had a nightmare that Vivi says she's going to become Queen of the Pirates. So I just started to be like, oh no. But yeah, no. She instead just comes to the shore to tell all of them goodbye and give this like really heartfelt speech that they can't respond to because otherwise it's evidence that she's like in league with them and then she'd be in trouble. So they just have to hold their arms up with their X tattoo. Is it a tattoo? Is it forever?
I don't know. It's not a permanent mark.
Oh, okay. That's too bad. It would have been fun.
Permanent marker, but it's not like a tattoo.
But yeah, that was like really, because they're not answering her and they turn their backs to her and she's on the shore like, what the hell, guys? And then they like put their arms in the air and she's just like, oh, there it is. And actually, I really did like that.
Okay, I was going to ask, like,
did
you find that touching?
Yeah, did.
All right. Because that gets me every time.
I found that touching. And I found it touching later when everybody's like all sad. And Zoro's like, what's the matter? And Chopper is the one who starts it. But I think everybody at the same time says, I miss her. And I was genuine. Like, of course, for me, I'm like, why? But the fact that they all said that was really cute. And fucking Zoro, man, he is heartless sometimes. Well, if you miss her so much, you shouldn't have let her stay. That's not how that works, sir. That's not how grown-up relationships go. Maybe you should... Of course, he doesn't know that. He's a loner. He's a lone wolf, man. Zoro, you're hot, but get a grip. When you first watched this, did you expect Vivi to join up with them, or did you think she was going to stay as well?
I honestly don't remember. But also because I watched the anime opening, I also got spoiled. So...
Oh, no.
Because the anime opening shows Robin like 5 or 6 episodes before.
What the hell? Why do they do that? I'm so glad I'm not watching that stuff.
Are just evil. Yeah, this is why we don't let you watch them.
I can't get over that.
What, this was actually exactly why I said you're not, because we were like, are we gonna let her? And I was like, no, you're not allowed to watch them because I knew that you were gonna get spoiled on Robin. And I didn't watch them.
Do they just do? Is it like a cultural thing where in Japan spoilers just don't, like, it's not considered rude?
It's hyping up. The idea is that the anime opening hypes you up, so they give you scenes from like the next 50 episodes or whatever the season is, and they do spoil a lot of things.
It just feels like
it's just horrible.
If you're gonna hype it up, not like giving stuff away feels like a better way to hype. You can give hints, but you don't need to like tell me an entire, that is just rude. I don't like that.
It is terrible. My boyfriend has a lot of like really strong thoughts about it. He absolutely
It's just like, and this is something that I've complained about recently as well, is sort of like in the last 5 years or so, it's become a thing to put the best moments of movies into the trailer. And it's, I understand the marketing idea. You show these really bombastic moments of action or these really like funny lines of dialogue because you want people to come and see it. But then you watch the movie and everything that was in the trailer is the best part of that movie that you just sat through 2 hours of. And inevitably you just wind up feeling like, oh, I actually kind of just liked the trailer better,
Yeah. How they start like showing you like clips like a week or two before the movie comes out. And I'm like, why? Why do I want to watch clips when I want to watch the full movie?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, it just feels like, I don't know. Especially like this show, because it has so much long drawn out stuff to just make up time. I can't help but think if I were to watch the trailers, it would just feel like, oh, yeah, this is just like an episode if all the extra stuff were cut, and the pacing of this is really good, actually, But man, I can't believe that she's in the like 5 episodes ago. You said?
Yeah, I can't remember, but it's a few episodes ago. When
you think that she might be dead. Wow,
and they're showing her like all like running together, and like it's very much the crew together type of opening, and they have Robin right there, and it's like,
that's so annoying. Wow. Yeah, thank you guys very much for warning me about that, because I would be real pissed.
Yes.
Shit. Ryan says, one of my best movie experiences was going to see Gone Girl without seeing any trailers, was just in on the ride the whole time. That is something that I think is so underrated, is going in to see movies without knowing anything about them. And it can be really hard to do because you'll be forced to sit through trailers at the beginning of this movie that may sort of spoil you for stuff. But I went to see the Into the Spider-Verse, the animated Spider-Man movie, without knowing anything about it. Have you seen that, Gabriela?
I'm sorry. Got distracted for a hot second.
Are you reading the chat?
I was reading the chat.
Rashawn?
I'm blaming the chat on this one.
I'm going to leave that silence in when I edit so that everybody knows why I'm giving her the side eye right now.
It's okay.
Have you seen Into the Spider-Verse?
I have seen Into the Spider-Verse. I'm sorry.
I went to see that with no idea anything about it. I just knew that it was a Spider-Man movie. And it was like the best way to go see that. Mm-hmm. There's just so many awesome moments that I am certain were in the trailers that I didn't see coming. And it was so good. It was just a great time. Duma says, I decided I don't give a fuck about spoilers, but most people aren't like that, so I get why it's a problem. And then such a good movie. Yeah, it's like, I just find that I think it's also because of doing this for a living now. Mm-hmm. It's harder to surprise me anyway. You know, it's all like, I already am trying to think things through while I'm watching. So adding to that by also showing me like scenes from a thing, it just feels like it's too much. I really enjoy the experience of being surprised these days. It's hard to do. And I appreciate it now, you know?
Well, I'm glad you were surprised about Robin.
I was. I really was. And like, he goes to collect her and like throws her over his shoulder. And she says, I don't have anything to live for anymore. And I'm like, don't you? She came there. She's apparently an archaeologist. Mm-hmm. So she claims. I have my doubts.
You don't believe she's an archaeologist? She was reading all those weird... Well, she was reading the poneglyphs and all of the history and all of that.
I mean, I'm certain that she has some skills that an archaeologist might also find useful. But unless she's like a Indiana Jones type, and that's why she's like suddenly on the wanted list.
How about River's song?
River from
Doctor Who.
Oh, right. God, I was thinking of somebody from Firefly, the girl who like doesn't talk, but I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her.
But you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, River Song. So she's like that type. That would suit what I've seen of her so far.
She's an assassin, and she's an archaeologist.
Yeah. And she like teams up with a bad guy, but only because she's planning to double cross him eventually anyway. River from Firefly, says Ryan. I didn't think her name was the same name. But so he just likes the name River, apparently. Or wait, no, that's not a Joss Whedon property. Never mind. I don't know what I'm doing. But her mission here was to find the history of her people or of Alabasta. She says our history to Cobra. So it sounds like she's including him in that statement.
The history of the world.
Of the whole world?
Yes.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So she's trying to find a poneglyph.
Right.
That tells her the history. And then she went there thinking that that's going to be it. But it wasn't.
So then, like, I don't have anything left to live for. Yes, you do. You did not find your thing yet. Like, it definitely sounds like you have a thing left to live for. You didn't accomplish your goal. Go out there and try again, girl. Don't give up like that. That's not the attitude to have. That's not a winner. Come on. Pick yourself up. All you did was get a hook through the abdomen. Big deal. Get over it.
Nothing.
Whatever. Let's put some mud on it. And the weapon that was allegedly like the directions to find it were on the poneglyph. Mm-hmm. What is the weapon called again?
Pluto. That's the one
right.
That's the one in Alabasta, Pluto.
It does not come into play at all after this. Like, I'm not saying at all after this period, but like, I thought that we would see something with that in these final episodes. And it's just mentioned that by Cobra that like...
Oh, Pluto. Sorry, Gus.
With the N. Right. It's just mentioned like the king says something like, the directions to find it were definitely there, actually. But nothing ever comes of it. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. Like, I don't know. Like, here's my issue is that I'm never sure how much anything is going to come back around. It feels like he likes to recycle people a lot, but locations, it doesn't seem like he recycles as much.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we haven't really backtracked and gone anywhere that we have already been. Have we?
No. But, for example, in the Grand Line, it's a sort of a straight line type of situation.
Right.
So if they were to go back, they will be technically backtracking.
Right. So if we're like, the only thing I could think is that we occasionally will see from like a point of view that isn't with the Straw Hats, and we'll go hang out with a villain, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we go hang out with a villain who figures out where the Pluton is or something.
Maybe. We've gotten 2 villain cover stories, Buggies and Django. So
yeah. I don't know. We even saw a couple of like meetings that Crocodile had when none of our people were with him. So that might be the way that gets introduced. I just find it, I don't imagine that you would introduce something like Pluton and then just never do anything with it. But I'm just trying to figure out how he would include that in the story at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. You've got such a look on your face right now. You're trying to keep a straight face.
I mean, we are currently in episode 130 of 1000, so...
Every time you guys tell me that, I just have this, like...
But, yeah, Florian and Gus are asking right questions, like, how do we need to backtrack? Where do you think Pluton is? Like, do we have to go back to Alabasta to find it? Is it further?
I guess that's true. I was assuming that it had to be on the island, because that is why that like the directions are there, but I guess it doesn't have to be. Florian, any idea where Pluton is or could be or what it is? I have no idea. I've told you guys that I'm like thinking of it as like a plutonium, like a weapon of mass destruction ingredient, basically. But I don't really see this show deciding to just have like a Bond villain style, you know, holding the whole world hostage with missiles kind of thing. You know
be
what?
Interesting.
I say that I don't see this show doing that. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. Why did I say that?
Yeah.
We literally just had this guy with a cannon and a bomb cackling down in a hidden temple waiting for everybody to get blown up. So why did I say that?
Instead of a bomb that destroys the city, a bomb that destroys the entire world.
Yeah. It's interesting that Nico Robin is looking for the history of the world, but does seem so uninterested in the Pluton. But she has the information now, doesn't she? Because she could read it. Mm-hmm. So I keep thinking that we have to go back to Alabasta to get the map. I'm like thinking about it like that. But maybe it's just you don't need a map. Maybe it was like on the it's in underneath the Denny's at 4th and Main, you know, and it's just really easy to remember.
Just unreadable because it's in a weird language.
Yeah,
that's a good way to hide things. Like you put them in very clear instructions, but in a completely different language.
Yeah. Man, all right. Maybe our crew will take the Pluton. Maybe they'll do something crazy. I don't want Pluton in Usopp's hands. I'm just going to say
do you really want the Pluton in the Straw Hat's hands?
Nah. Yeah. I'll be honest, though. I don't think I've met anybody in this universe that I would be comfortable handing it over to, really. Like, Maybe Cobra, because he's like fairly level-headed, but even he has made some very questionable choices. Yeah, I don't know. Florian is saying, do you trust her? No. That was like one of the first things that I said about her at the start, is just like, I'm very excited for her to be here. And I'm really looking forward to figuring out like what her deal is. But I absolutely do not trust her at all, especially considering she seems to have pinpointed exactly what everybody's weaknesses are. You know? Because like Nami comes out and is just like, you may have everybody else wrapped around your finger, but I am not fooled by your bullshit. So don't even try it. And then she's like, do you want this jewelry? And Nami is immediately like, oh my God, besties, you're so cool. And I was just like, God damn, that really took no time at all. She wins over Usopp by using her power to make hands come out of Luffy's head so that he looks like Chopper. That's the thing that she does?
Yes.
All right, you know what? I'm not even mad about that, because people being funny will win me over when they definitely don't deserve it. Yeah. So it remains the only person that seems suspicious of her at all is Zoro. Yeah. Right? Jessica's saying, so you view it like Zoro. I guess I do, but I don't like that. Because I like Zoro a lot as a character, but his viewpoint on things is a drag a lot of the time. So the fact that I'm like seeing this completely from his perspective, evidently, I feel like, I don't know, am I just like a buzzkill? I don't know. What does she want with them? I could see it just being like, this is the only way to get off the island. Maybe it's as simple as that.
Yeah, just hitching a ride.
But she doesn't say that.
No. She asks Luffy to take responsibility for his actions.
Wait, what? Does she?
That's the whole, I was going to comment on that because you watch it in English. So I watched it in English so that I could like get an idea of like what expressions they used.
Mm-hmm.
And when she's introducing herself, and you know how Sanji gets really angry at Luffy?
Yeah.
It's because the phrase that she uses and that gets translated from Japanese is that she's saying like, you know what you did and you gotta take responsibility. So Sanji gets mad because he's like, what did you do, Luffy?
But actually what she's saying is, you're the one who saved my life, so I guess this is kind of on you.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, because like if she just was using them for a ride, I honestly think that would be an easier sell to these crewmates. Just being like, I'm not trying to join up with you guys. I just want you to take me to the next island and then I will be out of your hair and it'll be over. I think that would have gone over better. Instead, she's like saying she wants to be part of this, which I think is what caused her the pushback from, I was going to say most of them, but really the only people who pushed back very much were Usopp and Nami. Even though Zoro doesn't trust her, he isn't putting up a fight about her joining exactly. He's just kind of like, I mean, she can. I'm going to watch her like a hawk the entire time and never trust her. But sure, let her be part of, fine, go ahead. There's something about him that I just feel like he will roll with things a lot because he is going to continue to be vigilant anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess is a good attitude to have. He's the dad of the group for sure.
He is.
Sanji, though.
Sanji didn't even need convincing.
Fucking Sanji. I swear to God, you guys. Every time that we have a moment with Sanji of him just like falling all over himself just because it's a woman that has shown up, I have these like flashbacks to high school because there were dudes like this that were just, if you were a girl, it was like they would turn into a totally different person. It was pitiful. It was terrible. It was awful to watch. But he's yelling at Luffy, like you said. Dude, she was hiding on your ship. And you're yelling at Luffy on her behalf. Sanji has no goddamn loyalty. He is loyal to his dick. That's his loyalty. That's it.
Yeah.
Honestly. Ryan says, saw it in college too, I'm afraid. Yeah. Those are the nice guys. Those are the dudes who they think if they're really nice to you, that eventually you'll just give them sex in reward. And it doesn't work like that. And it's not attractive. And we can tell when you're doing it, guys out there. Women can tell
Sanji,
that's what's
though.
happening.
He doesn't get upset when he doesn't get it. He just keeps trying.
That's true. He just it seems like he just expects it. He's like, yeah, I absolutely worship you. This has never worked out for me. I'm still doing it though.
Yeah.
I guess that's a pretty decent attitude to have.
Yeah.
He does say something about how Nico Robin has like a more mature energy than Nami at one point.
She's
right?
28 years old. So
how do you know that? Does she say that? Or is that like in...
She says that she's been running away for 20 years and that she started getting persecuted when she was like 8 years old. So she said that.
Again, I would really appreciate the story on that. I'm just saying, Nico. Like an 8-year-old being persecuted, like that's not a thing that happens. What? But how old is the rest of the crew? Like Luffy is supposed to be like 17 or so. He's supposed 17. To be real young, right?
Luffy and Usopp are 17.
Okay.
Sanji
Nami
are 19.
Oh, okay.
Nami somewhere in that 18.
Okay, so she's like the oldest, other than maybe Zoro. Is she older than Zoro?
Yeah, so Zoro is like 19, 20. I can't remember.
Is
right
he?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he has such middle-aged man energy to me most of the time. I just...
And Chopper's a baby. He's like 13, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah. Chopper has very childlike energy. I would have even put him at like 10 years old.
Oh, there. Gus, 19. Zoro is 19.
Zoro is... Okay, cool. All right, so she's like by far the oldest out of everybody. Huh. I wonder what kind of dimension that's going to bring to everything. I mean, it isn't too surprising that she absolutely like handled everybody. Mm-hmm. If she's that much older than all of them. They're children to her, I guess. They're children to all of us, I suppose, at this point. Yes. I'm going through the episode to just find some moments. Oh my God, you guys. I had forgotten. Bon Clay basically like recites a poem about friendship. And then the camera pans over to one of his henchmen holding a basket of rose petals so that they are fluttering dramatically in the background as he recites the poem. The best. The best. I love the joke of something that's happening in the moment seeming a little bit too much. And then some acoustic guitar begins to play in this really like touching moment. And then the camera pulls back and there's a guy sitting there playing guitar in the scene. That kind of joke always gets me. So this moment and him like, he recites the poem and then ends it by saying, Bon Clay. Like he's signing it at the bottom. And he says something at one point too about, I would never want to like sacrifice my honor as a man. I would never want to sacrifice my honor as a woman. And I really appreciate that he gets to say both. Mm-hmm. And it's just completely like not commented on. Nobody who's listening to him make the speech is like, what? everybody's just like, no, that seems right. You know, I enjoyed that a lot. Appreciated it. He better be alive.
Let's hope so.
And I don't like this. I don't like this little I'm hiding things attitude. You
want me to tell you he's alive? You want me to tell you he's totally dead? Like,
I don't, but like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. All right. So making sure that I have not forgotten anything. Oh, by the way, Vivi's new like princess outfit is great.
yes.
Really want it, actually.
Yes.
I like that a lot. I have like, that seems like something to be really fun to cosplay. I'm sure that people have done it, but yeah, them all waving. And I really liked that Luffy is insistent that she will definitely be there. And because they're hearing the opening of the speech, which I guess is the opening of the speech that they're hearing as they're sailing around, is that her speaking to begin everything, like before they, you know what I'm talking about? Like, is she standing on the shore making a bit of the speech to her people before the Straw Hats like pull up, or did they record her? Okay.
No, she's giving the speech live. Igaram is just there so that the people in the capital don't think that she's not there.
Right. Okay. But Luffy is so sure that she's going to be there, and he's like actively mad at people who are suggesting that maybe she won't be. And I was a little bit worried that he was not going to take it well, that she's deciding to stay. But he rolls with it pretty well. There's a moment of just like, wait, what? And then pretty quickly he's like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. I was very relieved because, you know, I understand that Luffy isn't like the smartest guy, but I do want him to understand, like, after everything y'all just fought for, of course she's going to stay. Come on, man. Florian says, can we talk about Hina for a moment, her powers, just because we talked about Bon Clay? Yeah. Let's talk about Hina.
Yes.
She can bind anybody's hand, like body parts together. Is that how that goes? What is the way that they say that?
The name of the devil fruit for Hina?
It's a cage fruit.
It's a cage. Thank you.
Yeah.
So she just, what she does is that anything that she wraps around, it gets completely locked up.
Huh. That feels like a way more appropriate power for the woman who was dressed as a dominatrix. But you know what I'm saying? But that's fine. I mean, it does make sense, I guess, if she's working as like somebody who's apprehending criminals. It's very appropriate to that line of work.
Yeah.
Her, like, it feels, this is my issue. I'm not as imaginative as Oda. So for me, I'm picturing this having sort of limited use, but I'm certain he will come up with some wild shit to do with that kind of power. It's just like, for me, I'm like, what more is there? You can bind people's feet together. You can bind people's hands together. That feels kind of like all that's really useful about it. You know?
Remember the guy with the explosive boogers?
Sure do.
So, yes, you can trust Onoda to give unique attacks or unique approaches to all of the abilities.
Yeah. I am interested to see, like, it seems like we're going to have ongoing sort of moments with her and the Django and Full Body team. And I'm really looking forward to that as well. Because just that, okay, there's something I forgot to mention from the, like, stories.
Mm-hmm.
Django takes his sunglasses off at one point, and his actual eyes are heart-shaped. His actual eyes. Do you all know how creepy that looks? Oh my God. Because it's like regular human eyes, but it's just like the sockets. And also his eyebrows are like the McDonald's arch M over each heart. He says something in this episode about how, like, this is going to prove that I'm not a weirdo. I'm sorry, bud. Nothing is going to do that. You're a weirdo. Full stop. You have heart-shaped eyes. That's like, I mean...
He was always going to be a weirdo.
I'm not mad at it. It's a look. But it's weird.
Yes.
Ryan says, I thought she was giving the speech from her snail the whole time, and she put it at the same time as them leaving so she could sneakily talk to them with the speech's cover. Okay, that makes sense. Gus says, she can bind anything, not just feet and hands, but it has to pass through her body. It has... Oh!
The way that she, like, grabs her arm and, like, lock it.
Right. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I'm real fascinated to see, like, what she can do with that. And I'm, like I said, fascinated to see what's going on with Django in full body. Look, I'm going to admit something. Full body is hot.
He did get a glow up. Yes.
You know, like, I'm not proud of myself for this.
But he's a pretty Marine, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, that hair, like, that works for me. I like it. I'm just saying. He's, like, kind of a little bitch, but also, he came in second in a pretty intense dance competition. I don't know if you guys know that. Pretty impressive.
I'm sure he believes it, too.
Oh, yeah, probably. He does feel himself way too much. Okay, I'm going through these to just make sure that I'm not missing anything major that I wanted to bring up, because the ending of this episode is just all of them. The first one is all of them standing with their arms raised. And
you have the music because it's the original soundtrack, and you have the explosions and the rain and the what.
I forgot they're being shot at throughout all of that. That's right. Yeah, you're right. Very cinematic moment.
Like that panel in the manga, it's really cool and really touching. But the anime did a really good job at just like giving it an extra.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually haven't... There were a couple things that I noticed in previous episodes that I meant to bring up. First of all, in the last trio of episodes, I think it was 3 that I covered last time, or was it 2? It doesn't matter. But there's like a voiceover about like Alabasta finally ending their violence and coming together. Do you remember this? This show has never done a voiceover, as far as I remember.
Sometimes there is a narrator.
Has that happened in other episodes? I didn't remember it at all.
I don't remember the narrator a lot. But then it's usually like at the beginning of the episode when they're doing the recaps. So the narrator sometimes does it at the ending. Just like in this kind of case, like it's just easier to do a narrator voice to talk about like, oh, the country's coming together and the war is over. So
it was weird, and it didn't feel necessary. Like there's enough going on in the actual imagery for me to know that the country's coming together and we're moving into a better era and whatever. We don't need them to tell us that. So I'm just going to register a complaint about the voiceover because I don't like it.
Okay.
However,
they have a really good moments though. I gotta give them
the voiceovers.
The narrator, like at the beginning, sometimes when they're like recapping previous episodes, they do tend to do like a couple of jokes.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's so rare that it's like I think one of my favorite narrator jokes is on the next arc. So I'm
Okay.
gonna look up the episode and I'll mark that like you want to watch this one just because it's really funny.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I think I just do the skip intro button and
Hmm.
it might skip over the narrator. Maybe that's why it felt so
Yeah,
weird
it
to me, because
does.
I just like completely don't hear that part usually.
Yeah. Which let me find out exactly what's gonna be the minute and second to skip because Hulu doesn't let you just skip intro because they're not.
Oh, that's right. I forgot, because that
So
keeps happening with Full Metal. Yeah.
you're gonna have to manually skip it.
Look, I understand that certain things are copyrighted or whatever, but can we just talk about the frustration of using multiple streaming platforms in general and how poorly some of them are set up and organized? Like Prime streaming,
Hmm.
they don't even have continue watching on like the homepage.
Yeah.
Like you have to go and find your shit again to continue watching from where you left off a lot of the time. What? Why?
I
Hulu was doing that for a little while, or not Hulu. HBO Max was doing that for a while too, where they wouldn't have the continue watching, and now they finally do. But I don't like it. It doesn't feel like it should be this hard. I'm coming back. I've been here. You know, I've been here. I'm logged in, and
I don't.
the skip intro should be like standard. Like, come on.
Yeah. I don't like it when the continue watching takes you straight to the the episode. Like sometimes I just want to look at the list of episodes. Can we go
Yep.
to the main screen of the
Yep.
series and then I can click on continue watching?
Mm-hmm.
Netflix really does have
100%.
the best model.
Yeah, and considering that I have to rewatch episodes for everything I cover, I really love when they let you pick it instead, because otherwise I have to do that, like click on the title and see details and then go into it, which is what Hulu does.
Hmm.
Yeah, good point. Anyway, that is not what this is about, but I had to whine for a second.
We like 10.
I appreciate you preparing me for that as well with Hulu, because I had forgotten that you can't just skip intro with that.
Yeah,
So,
let me just double check. And the thing is, I don't remember if it's this coming season or the following. But the anime, since it's been around for so long, they
mhm.
experiment a lot with different styles. So at some point, they don't even do ending songs. They just do a longer opening song type of thing. And at
Oh,
some
okay.
point, they decided to try cold openings,
Ooh.
which is cool. But then that means like you have to watch the cold opening, and then you have to very quickly skip the intro.
Right. Sorry, I dropped my pen.
So it's like make up your mind. But I mean, I understand it because they were trying different things. But
Mhm,
when you're trying
mhm.
to binge it, it's like
Yeah.
make up your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a thing for me with Full Metal Alchemist as well, is that like they will have cold open sometimes, and then sometimes it will just immediately start with the theme song. And then, you know, what I'm covering now, they just changed the theme song after like I think it's like the 14th or 15th episode, and I'm so bummed because the theme song that it started off with was so good. This show has changed theme songs like 5 times now. It's been a
Oh,
lot, I feel like.
I think it's only been 3 or 4. I think we're on the 4th opening.
Is it? Maybe it feels like more because they also changed the outro song.
Mm.
The I don't know if it's the intro song always, but the outro song, do they use voice actors from the show to sing them? Do you know?
I don't know. Listened to the intro in English for the first time because I watched it in English so that I could yeah. So I
Right.
watched it in English and and it was weird listening to the opening song and the song in English.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if they used the voice actors for that. I'm guessing they probably did since I don't think that they're gonna hire a professional singer for
Yeah, I guess they wouldn't. If whoever is doing the outro song, it almost sounds like the voice actor who does Usopp, but he is definitely better than the woman who was doing the outro song right before this. That was painful. Look, she did an adequate job, but she is clearly like not a singer. And I was just kind of like, why? Just have it be like just instrumental then. You don't need to, but whatever. It's fine. Okay. So, Florian has brought up lashes.
Lashes.
He wants to join what is the name of the duck group? Supersonic?
The Supersonic Ducks. Something like that.
Duck Squad?
Yeah. Well, he wants to join Karoo and all the other ducks.
Honestly, this moment with these two guards discussing lashes was one of my favorite moments in this episode. Because they're just like, one of them's like, but he's a camel. And the other guy says, what gave it away? And they just get real snarky with each other in this way and eventually are just like, welp. And it just doesn't really resolve in any way. And I am very into the idea of these ducks taking lashes in as one of their own. Mm-hmm. The ducks don't seem to be quite as pervy as Lashes is. So they may have to squash that a little bit because Lashes is really, he's a creep.
Yes.
But maybe they'll help him to grow out of that. They could set a good example,
Carol can handle it.
Oh, and the other thing that I had wanted to mention regarding Smoker, because he's talking to Hina and she's like, yeah, you're happy they got away, man. What the fuck? And just straight up says that she's like annoyed with him about it. Because he tries to be like, what, are you annoyed at your own incompetence? Smoker, I really want to like you and you make it hard. He could just be such a dick. Come on, man. Let me like you. Why you gotta be like this? And there's a moment where he's talking to, oh my God. What is it? Dashigi?
Tashigi, yes.
Tashigi, that's right. I always forget her name. Her and the woman who's the housewife on Full Metal Alchemist, I get their names lost in my head and mix them up. But do you know who I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Florian says, I feel like Hina and Smoker had sex, just saying. You know what?
They do have that energy.
Yeah, they feel like exes. I totally see that, Florian. Yeah, just that kind of like, I do still like you as a person, but also the things that annoy me about you annoy me in a way that feels out of proportion because it's like really personal. I like that. That's canon as far as I'm concerned. All right. There. Thanks, Florian. But yeah, so he's talking to Shigi and, she basically like says something again about how she's going to be Zoro because he mentions that Zoro took out a bunch of bounty hunters. Where is he talking about? He mentioned someplace.
When he pretty much beat everybody in Whiskey Peak. Remember the Cactus Island?
Right. I forgot about that. Okay, yeah. So he like that for him is just really impressive, I guess. He's just basically like, this guy is nobody to fuck with. Oh, that's also mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, technically, Zoro defeated the entirety of Borough Courts practically on his own.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, like, everybody gets like some credit, but
yeah, everybody gets like one person and then Zoro gets everybody else.
Yeah. But yeah, him taking out Mr. One, Gus mentions, and they mention that as well as the bounty hunters at Whiskey Peak. And it ends with Tashigi being like, yeah, one day I'm going to beat you. I still don't know what to feel about their rivalry with each other.
But is it a rivalry when it's really only on her side?
I guess, like, the thing is, it feels like a rivalry because every time he sees her, he's like, fuck. But it's not because he wants to fight her. It's because he doesn't want to deal with her.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you're right. It doesn't quite count. But maybe that's why I don't really know how to feel about it. Because it's like so one-sided and he doesn't seem to want to have anything to do with it. And she like kind of beat him at one point, but it really felt like it was just because he wasn't putting 100% into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sora doesn't want to fight her because she looks too much like Kuina. So he's like,
You know what would be fun is if something happened to just make her not look like herself. And then all of a sudden he just completely unleashed on her and then realizes who she is after. That might be what would have to happen for that to work.
So
I just want to see him like
or something for her to.
Yeah, or it just gets covered in mud. You know, that would also work. Like,
there you go.
But I don't like that he keeps pulling his punches because she resembles somebody. You know, I want him to like treat her like an opponent. Like it feels like disrespectful somehow.
Does she get the same way?
I guess she does, although she doesn't really like know the reason for him because he doesn't say to her, "Hey, you look just like a girl that I liked who died." But yeah, what a weird thing that all is.
So imagine being Tashigi and knowing this guy refuses to fight you. Like,
yeah. Especially considering like he has this reputation. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, why does he though? Because he's kind of a bitch. Yeah. Okay. There's one thing that I really, really want to talk about though. I forgot.
What?
Those smug birds are back and they stole some kid's backpack. And they're just drinking all the wine on this one ship at one point. I want so much for these fucking birds to be a thing that follows our friends around to every island. I am super bummed that it looks like they just live on Alabasta because we have never seen them before. They're like little like hooded eye smirking. Oh my God. I want to punch each of these birds in the face so bad. It's just like the animation is so on point for them. And we also get the fighting dugongs. What are they called? Mm-hmm. The dugongs?
The dugongs.
Again, really sad to say goodbye to them.
So, the cast and the producers for the live action, to post just a lot of random images. Obviously nothing about the actual show, but just a lot of random stuff. So at one point, the producer actually posted a picture of a bunch of dugongs. Like he's like, look at them, they found me. It was obviously they're not nearly close to filming Alabasta or anything, but it was just so cool. Oh,
I love that. The Kung Fu dugongs. That's what it is, Gus. Thank you. What a great, them and the birds, the lashes, and and we see the crab that they rode, running away at one point. What I like about these arcs that are longer is this sort of moment where you get to see what's going on with everybody that you kind of forgot about because we left them behind and they weren't necessarily a really key player. So I had forgotten all about those birds. I want to just watch that episode with Owen just for his reaction to the birds stealing their food. Cause that shit, I laughed so hard, and he was napping in the other room and came out all irritated because I was laughing so loud that I just like completely woke him up, and he was like, what? And I'm just trying to explain that these animated birds, and he just he did not find it funny. He was not amused by it. We don't see the lizards, sadly. Oh, I forgot about those. Yeah. The ones, there's the messengers and there's the banana gators.
Yeah, we don't see the banana gators.
I would have kind of liked to revisit with the banana gators, just because the casino basically like got destroyed, didn't it?
And everybody in the city is going to different cities to help rebuild. Mm-hmm. So that city is not like getting abandoned, but everybody's like, no, like forget about this. Let's go help the country. It's
right. So those banana gators are just like wandering around somewhere because they aren't in like the casino aquarium anymore.
Because
right?
they're going to find their way to the river. And there's going to be a banana gator colony in the river.
Oh, God. That feels like a real problem. Yikes. Well, all right. Good luck, guys. Oh, I forgot about Kuzo?
Yes.
Koza.
Chile. Koza.
I'm going to say that this, for me, is weird. He never speaks to Vivi. Does he?
I don't think so. Or at least they don't show it.
I really expected there to be some kind of moment with the two of them, considering that they're childhood friends, and he was literally leading the rebellion. And just like, even if they weren't childhood friends, as the leader of the rebellion, I would have thought there would be a moment, you know, but they're like, they go way back, and there's no like reunion between them. And I thought that was surprising.
She was busy hanging out with her friends.
Yeah, I guess so. What a bitch.
But there's time. I mean, she's going back. She's riding back on her way to like rebuild her country. So. But
that's like, you know, considering everything. Okay, Gus is saying only in the palace when Crocodile showed up. I was thinking that there was like maybe something, but yeah, it wasn't like they didn't get a moment of real reunion. I don't know. It just, I'm surprised that the show, like that he didn't want to show us that, because it felt like Koza's sort of growth in having faith that he is supposed to have was played as like fairly important, but it also was not touched on with any of our characters that we've really gotten to know well, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It just felt like his arc didn't feel like it mattered enough that we needed to see as much of him as we even did in the end. You know, I guess we needed to have like somebody within the rebels so that we could see what things looked like to them, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that's probably like just the purpose that he served there. But yeah, I just expected the sort of, I guess I was like expecting the same kind of moment that I would have expected if you told me Pell was still alive. Which is, you know what I mean? Like the moment of them like seeing each other and, oh, I'm so sorry, or I didn't believe and I should have believed, or I should have had faith in you, or whatever. And instead we just have somebody being like, are you going to come listen to her speech? And him just going, I can hear her speech from bed. And he doesn't like get up or do anything. And he just seems kind of cranky. I'm like, all right, I guess. Florian saying, what will happen to Croc? Will we see him again? What do you think? And this is the thing, because I can never tell if anybody's dead. Nobody really dies. like even Arlong, it felt like it was saying that he was dead. And I feel like somebody mentions him being dead at one point, but I don't know how much I trust that the other characters will even get that right, you know?
I mean, Pell is alive. So that's all I can say.
I can't, like...
I feel like it's not much of a spoiler if I say that Oda struggles with killing characters. As we have seen with Pell.
Like, literally, the smallest sacrifice. Nobody gives a shit about Pell, Oda. We didn't need it.
No, we don't. Yeah,
It's fine. Oh, that's right. Florian says Croc got arrested by Tashigi. I forgot that we saw that. And she, like, strips him of his rights as, like, a Lord of the Seas, Seven Warlord thing. Yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, pretty much everybody, I assume, that we'll see again if they're not dead. There's just no reason for them to not die unless you're going to recycle them somewhere else in your story. And that can be really effective, you know, having like people come back from a while back. I'm not against that in theory. It's just more like if it feels like you never get rid of anybody, then I just want some consequences. That's all. The man carried a bomb into the stratosphere and was like, had it still in his mouth when it went off, as far as it looked to me. And he's fine. Like,
hell, just
it just feels like if he's fine, then letting the bomb go off in the square would have been fine. Evidently, it would not have hurt anybody. Yeah, you know, like he was literally like part of his body was wrapped around it and he's still fine. Then the bomb just doesn't seem like a threat then. Doesn't even seem like it's a sacrifice that he made, really. But Gus says, I feel like Koza is embarrassed he got totally tricked by Crocodile and ended up falsely blaming Vivi's father for the rain, and so he's just kind of sulking. I like that read. Mm-hmm. That makes sense, Gus. I didn't really think about just being like, my bad, and then like slinking away. But I guess he really was very like loud about his suspicions. So it could be extra humiliating to be wrong. Yeah. All right. What do you think?
Yes and no. I think that at the end it's more of I think that Alabasta was very much Bibi's story.
Right.
So Koza was there just to give Bibi a connection with the rebellion.
Okay. Yeah,
so
I can see that as well.
Once he served his purpose, like, yeah, he's still gonna, like, maybe he's still gonna help out, and maybe still, but it's gonna be about Bibi rebuilding rather than, you know, Koza doing it. So now he's still there because he's there with his dad and all of that, but I think that's, and I think, like, because and I think they make, like, Oda and the animators make that even more clear, like, as they're showing you how, like, I'm gonna go find out the truth myself. And, like, they're trying to show Vivi as this, like, doer, as this like,
go-getter
her people.
Yeah.
And now she's in the next step. What's after you save the people? Will you help them rebuild type of thing? So I think so this was, like, Vivi's story. So, yes, I do think that maybe Koza, like, knows and is aware that he was just a tool. And nothing like, but
yeah, he was.
I didn't mean it like that, but yeah. But he served his purpose, And that's about, yeah. So even their reconciliation with Vivi and all of that, I do feel like we don't need to see it because we know it's happening anyway.
All right. I don't agree, but I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I think that for me, like, her rebuilding, like, getting to talk to him and them reestablishing a friendship would tie in perfectly with that. Rebuilding a friendship, basically, after he, like, totally lost faith in her family. But I don't actually care about him that much. It's just that I was surprised that that wasn't, I expected it to be a thing. There's one thing too that I wanted to talk about that I really loved, which is a moment where, so the Marines are shooting these like pipes. It feels like the only word I don't even know what these are really called, but they're like pointed.
Giant spikes.
Yeah. And like Luffy says something about like, use cannonballs. I can't do anything with these because evidently being stretchy, if it's pointy enough, it's still gonna pierce him, which doesn't really make sense because when somebody fires an actual gun, he can still
because
just
they're
bounce
round.
bullets on.
So
but
the bullets in this world are round, so they don't do anything because
they're like musket balls, kind of.
Yes. Well,
right.
It is perforated because he can't get punctured.
Harpoons, Florian is saying.
Thank you, Florian.
Yeah, that sounds right. So they're puncturing a bunch of holes in the ship. And poor Chopper and Usopp are like assigned to trying to patch these holes up before the ship sinks. And eventually, once they are, in a bad position, both Sanji and Sanji and Luffy and Zoro are all like, okay, it's time to fight. And they step forward as one and trip over all of the harpoons that are on the deck because when they got pulled out of the ship, Usopp was like, well, we could maybe use these for something. Let's hold on to these. And this is followed up by Luffy, who's irritated at having tripped. He just says, I'll get rid of them. And then chucks all of the harpoons at once into the opposing ships and leaves them as smoking wrecks. And I love that he does not even seem to mean to do it. He does this, incapacitates every ship, but he has his back to them. So he doesn't know that it's happened. And he just turns around and goes, all right, we got to fight. Like he doesn't even, and Sanji in particular is in the foreground of this with his mouth hanging open in total shock. I just like seeing when Luffy does something that's like insanely badass, but kind of by accident, and seeing like the shock on his crew's face as they're reminded, okay, yeah, this guy feels like a bit of a joke a lot of the time, but also he just sank 3 Marine ships in like 30 seconds. I really loved that moment a lot.
Yes, that's a really cool scene.
Just very, I'll get rid of them. So is there any like particular moment that you wanted to talk about in these 2 episodes that we haven't really?
Honestly, like I really wanted to get your impressions on our new crew member and see if you had any expectations and the like. Like, where do you think they're going next?
This is the thing, is like, we're trying to, the whole thing before was we've got to get to the Grand Line. Mm-hmm. Then it was, okay, we've got to find the One Piece. But there's no, as far as I know, they don't actually have information about where the One Piece is at all, do they?
No.
So they're just kind of wandering around.
What?
I'm wondering if like the Pluton is the One Piece. Is that it?
You imagine that
would
gigantic
be very...
weapon to destroy the world or something. It's a One Piece.
I feel like Luffy'd be really disappointed with that.
He probably would not like it.
Yeah, I feel like he'd just be like, oh, well, I'm definitely like not going to use it. And also I can't eat it. So what's the point of this? Yeah, I don't know, because like it also depends on, like, Nico Robin obviously has some sort of agenda of her own. Well, I mean, I think she does, but she was also like ready to just lay down and die. I don't know. Maybe she figured out an agenda once he saved her. I just feel like I could see her steering them in a direction that she wants to go in, you know, and it seeming like, okay, we all agreed that we're going to do XYZ, but really it's her like convincing everyone to go along with whatever she says. She's got the kind of energy that makes people want to listen to her. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I feel like if I were in a workplace and I met her, I would feel like she was my manager right away. She just sort of gives that vibe to me. I don't know. Gus says, not exactly wandering. They're required to follow the log pose in most cases. True. Florian says, you think we will see Vivi again, like back on the crew? I do not want that. I do not want that. I think we probably will see her again somehow, in some capacity, because I feel like what we're probably working toward here is some like drawn out battle royale between our crew and everybody that they've made an enemy of, plus everybody that they've made an ally of, somehow all coming together to be a big thing. Because when you have this sort of like large world, I mean, people leave a trail behind them of like relationships, and I don't see as a writer how you resist eventually bringing all of that together in one place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me and what I would want, but like I'm reading the Peace Talks section of Dresden Files, where we have all of these characters. Me now.
I'm kidding.
I won't say anything specific, but we have all of these characters that we have not seen, some of them for books and books at this point. And they're all in this like one place for this big meeting. And, you know, it's just, you create a world this big. You want to see how certain weirdos react to other certain weirdos.
Yeah.
You know? And Florian's mentioning the bounties went up. Yeah. They are worth a lot of money now. I have just recently incurred a bounty in Skyrim. Let me tell you. It has impeded my progress. I don't like being wanted, guys. These guards, I had to reload because they threw me in jail, so that I had to like, it was like a cartoon where there's like a ball and chain attached to you and you're chopping rocks. It wasn't action, but it was like pretty close to that. Anyway, bounties stress me out, and I don't know how they all can be just so blithe and carefree about it. They're excited. Look at our bounty.
Yeah.
No.
Or Luffy's like, the higher the better. It means that.
No. Sir. Luffy and I would not get along. I admire him. Respect him. Respect might be too strong a word. I like the guy. I don't know about respect. But, yeah. If we met in person, I don't think we would get along at all. Usopp, though. There is a part when Nico comes out where he just starts to announce, warning, warning, all stowaways must immediately exit the ship. I fucking died. It was so unexpected.
He's just lying there on the floor, like half high.
Like, he thinks that this is going to do something. She's going to hear it and be like, oh, well, I guess I'd better go then. He's really like, I've grown to really enjoy him. And they use him for comic relief in a way that, like, in the earlier episodes, it felt a lot more. I think it was like a lot more irritating initially because it was mostly focused on how much he lied or weird shit that he was making. And that's still like definitely a part of his personality. But now Luffy is yelling at Zoro at one point and just says 3-sword style. And Usopp is like, that's not an insult. Fine. 4-sword style. The number wasn't the problem. That's not how you, Usopp's interactions have been like gold lately. I'm going to name him MVP.
Usopp is the most human character. So it's just easy to connect and relate. I mean, look at him just like rebuilding the Mary as it's getting destroyed. And it's just, everybody's just doing their own thing. And Usopp just being like, no, hold on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm just making sure I'm going through things and making sure that I haven't forgotten anything about the way this ends. No, it's pretty much ends with Zoro eyeballing Nico as she comes
Robin.
up and like, or
Nico's the last name.
Right. I forgot that that's how that goes. Robin. It's frustrating too because Nico can be a first name. It's like, but yes, you're right. And him just like glowering at her. What is that woman up to? And then we just see her sitting at the head of the Going Merry. And it's just, a moment of like, yeah, all right. So she's part of this now, but like, is she though? I will register also my appreciation of the fact that because her face is drawn so much more distinctly, she stands out in comparison to Nami in a way that Vivi didn't. Vivi's like hair and everything, you knew who she was all the time, but she just did look so similar. And I appreciate there being a female character who also has a very distinct look to her, So, yeah, so that's that. Man, so now we're going to have to go to Hulu. The end of an era.
So, it's a little bit of a requirement with OP reviewers, but I have to ask you. You need to rank your sagas. Which is better, Alabasta or East Blue?
Oh. East Blue includes what's his face, right? With the, oh my god, what is his name? The guy who's just all machine guns. Don Krieg.
Yep.
So Alabasta's just better. That's kind of like Don Krieg is just such a black hole in the midst of so much good stuff that it just drags it down in a way that it's not East Blue's fault, but it can't be helped. It's part of that, So yeah, I would say Alabasta is better. And I also do really like the way that we have the saga of them traveling on the island of Alabasta itself. There's like a mini sort of obstacle course there as well that adds interest to everything. I think Alabasta is better.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, Alabasta is way better.
Yeah. I think too, like...
I love East Blue, but Alabasta is just...
So there's East Blue. Is there another one? What's the one before that?
You've only seen 2 sagas. You've only seen East Blue, which is from the first episode up until Logtown.
Right, okay.
And then
Alabasta technically includes everything from when they reach the Grand Line?
Everything from the Laboon Reverse Mountain up until now. And then you have the mini arcs. But I would make you rank your arcs. Yeah.
I think, and I think that, like, because we also have the whole crew together for the whole thing, this one has an unfair advantage because we're still gathering our people together in East Blue for quite a while, you know?
Yeah.
So that is just, it's just going to be better. Yeah, I'll say that. And also, I really like when our crew has, like, actual opponents who are a real threat, because it felt like in East Blue, Luffy was just able to beat the shit out of people. No problem a lot of the time. And here it's been more of a challenge. There's a lot more people who have powers and stuff. So I like that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Florian is reminding you that the next couple episodes are filler.
Oh, okay. So 144 will be the next canon episode. So everybody who's following along, you've got permission to watch 14 episodes for funsies before you have to stop to watch along with me. God damn. 14 filler episodes. Well, you guys know I'm going to watch those. They're no good? I'm still going to watch them because I just like it, but I'm really curious now, though.
There's some really good filler episodes. Like, at the end of the next saga, there is two filler arcs.
Okay.
And they're actually, like, really good. We're only asking you to cover one of them. The other one is more, we're going to give you actual time to watch it. And maybe if you want to talk about it, you can. But you don't need to, like, we don't need a full episode on it because it's not, like,
Okay.
But
gotcha.
At the end of the next saga, those are the good fillers. This is still the filler.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that it was today or the next episode, but Florian sent me a spreadsheet, and I think this was the last episode listed on there.
I'll check in with him to send you the next bunch of
cool
episodes.
Yeah, I should post it the next time you guys send it. I'm going to put it in the Discord for One Piece, the No Spoilers channel, and I'll pin it to the top. That way, if anybody wants to follow along, they can do it that way.
Okay.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to say before you wrap up?
No. Glad that we're still going along for a ride.
Yeah, I'm very excited now that we're, like, starting a whole new... How many arcs are there in the series altogether?
Arcs, I don't remember. Sagas, that's easier to track because there's
sagas. Yeah, that's what I meant.
There's the next one. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we're about at 9, maybe.
Okay.
10, depending on some people splitting the current saga. Some people splitting one way, some people splitting another way.
Okay, gotcha.
But don't quote me on this because it's after. In the last several hundred episodes, it's gotten a little bit murky which saga is which. But yeah, somewhere around 10.
In the last 100 episodes, she says. Oh my God, the show.
I wish
All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with us. And thank you, Gabriela, for joining me and chatting with me about this. Appreciate all of y'all. And I'll be seeing you soon with the start of the next saga. Until then, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye, everybody.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.